In at number 12. It's gonna be a shocking one. Let's get a little controversial here. What's up, tax evaders? It's me at the table, finally bringing a video, and today I'm gonna make the most controversial tier list that I promised probably a couple of months ago now. That is D&D classes. Before I get into that, I need you to subscribe, so that way I can become the highest grossing movie in all of the United States. Yep, I meant what I said. Assuming you subscribed, let's get into it.
A few moments later.
Now, with this tier list, it's gonna be a little bit different than most. Like, I'm not gonna compare power analysis or anything like that, mainly because it is kind of subjective at the end of the day, depending on how you scale a class. Like, a fighter could be crazy powerful and do like 27 attacks in one turn, and a wizard could stop time and cast wish, and power scaling is a little bit kind of irrelevant here. So I'm just going to go off of my personal enjoyment, my personal opinion. Multi-class combinations will not be considered. That'll be a different video of what I enjoy playing. For this, is just the class standalone by itself, and do I enjoy it or not? So gonna go over all 13. I'm not gonna go over Blood Hunter, even though that's official partnered content, because it's not official canon. Artificer is Tasha's, so I count it. Anyway, going over the classes. Number 13, bottom, one I don't have the most fun with at all, is the fighter. I kind of view it as the business major of classes. And what I mean by that is, there's not everyone picks it just 'cause it's there. When you don't know what to play, you pick it, and you get to do a bunch of attacks, and that's kind of it. When you're in combat, you're very cool. Subclass abilities don't do much except for, like, Champion giving you good criticals, Battle Master at lower levels, and Echo to duplicate yourself. But that's kind of it. Everything else kind of gets thrown under the bus when it comes to fighter abilities. Like, outside of combat, you don't get anything to boost your skills. Everything's in strength and constitution, so you're already at a disadvantage there. So for me, I just don't have fun playing it. I'll use it for a multi-class, or if I don't want to give the DM a headache, but that's about it. Then cracking in at number 12, it's gonna be a shocking one. Let's get a little controversial here. It's gonna be Druid. Druid, it's an idea that's cool. Lower levels, it can't really do much. You know, the idea of being able to turn an animal sounds awesome in theory, but in practice there's not much you can do unless you get magic items that enhance your wild shape, or you can go past a certain level, but that's rare. Like, even with Moon Druid, I don't think you can do anything above a challenge rating of 6, if I'm correct. And there's not even that many beasts in the book in and of itself. So there's a lot of disadvantages you get there. Cool, it's a hit point tank, but roleplay wise, not a lot of fun. You don't get any metal, so that takes off an aspect of something you could use. Like, you can't be a druid with a sword, like it explicitly says you can't do it. Being a wisdom caster is good, you get skills out of it, but again, personal enjoyment, I don't see much. I've played one druid, and I more preferred the other classes I multi-classed with than the actual druid itself. I would have preferred another spellcaster. Number 11, if this is a multi-class, it would be the highest. But this is not multi-class. This is by itself. What do you offer? So number 11 is Sorcerer. You're squishy, you only have realistically attack spells. Like, I can't be a support, I'm just sitting in the back throwing spells, hoping for the best. Now, you're a charisma caster, so that does, you know, give you some stats you're going to use for roleplay. But other than that, you don't get a lot. Your subclass abilities are decent. Like, if you pick Divine Sorcerer, that's really good, because you can get access to cleric spells and get more support, and get some expanded spell list, but mostly you're doing attack spells. You pick this because you want to cast Fireball, and you want to say that you were born awesome. That's kind of it. Great multi-class, though, if this is that. Cracking in the top 10, got Wizard. Subclasses you don't do a lot, but you get a huge variety of spells. This one's kind of straightforward for my reasoning. I would give this higher, but you're an intelligence caster. And the campaigns that I've played, usually you don't use intelligence-based casting. Or, not casting, but the skills that come out of it. Like, you don't really use investigation. Most DMs are going to say, oh, use perception. At least that I've played. Nature, not really used. They'll usually use survival. Like, your wisdom skills get preferred more and kind of overshadowed. I've made maybe one religion check in my 6 years of playing, but I'm mostly a DM. So if that tells you anything, I just don't get a lot out of this. But, you know, again, fun little low-level multi-class just to dive into some wizard spells, or if I have some of the higher ranked classes with it, it pairs very well. But going into number 9, speaking of pairing together, Artificer. I like the gimmick of it. Like, being able to use magical gadgets. Pretty cool, pretty spunky, pretty goofy. But you're not... With Artificer, it's kind of hard, because you're relying on infusions. You're picking magic items. If you don't, sorry, you messed up. Round 1.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
And Flash of Genius is cool, nice little ability to like be like, I'm gonna support you, and you get access to spells. But realistically, this thing could have been a full caster. Like, if Druid's a full caster, this should have been a full caster, to be honest. I don't think it would be that overly busted if you just like gave it some of the wizard stuff. I don't know. It's just not scaling super high, and you're kind of stuck again because your intelligence is your main stat, so there's not a lot that you can do outside. I just haven't found a lot of enjoyment out of it. But if you're in like a more experienced campaign with like everyone has played a bunch of times before, everyone knows the rules, this is a good class. This can be a lot of fun. For Battle Royale, these are hilarious, but everyday D&D campaign, no. With that, number 8, this is a sleepy caster, I like to call it. You've got the Warlock. What kind of holds us down for me is their spells. Like, Wizards of the Coast tried to do something unique and say, oh, you get 5 spell slots at higher levels, and you cast it at like 5th level, which sounds cool, but whenever I'm trying to ring through spells, and like I want to cast Darkness, which is a 2nd level spell, but I have to cast at 5th level, I feel like I've wasted it. Like, if you don't pick spells that scale well, again, putting yourself at disadvantage. And I don't want to have to take a nap after every single fight just to get all my abilities back, unless I'm spamming Eldritch Blast. Invocations add some flavor, but that's kind of it, unless you take a nap every single combat. You're not getting anywhere. Number 7, I find personal enjoyment, but if you were to take a poll with the mass D&D community, this is on the bottom 2, Ranger. Ranger, I like the martial classes in terms for roleplay, because they're kind of more like down to earth. And as someone who has a lot of experience and like is trying to introduce other people to the game, I don't want to overload my DM with stuff. So picking things like Ranger or other classes on this list like Paladin or Rogue or something like that, I can not overload like a new DM trying to learn, because oh, I've learned all these min-maxi combos, but you don't, so let's have fun. Ranger gives you a good combination, a lot of roleplay potential with like Drake Warden, Beastmaster, Swarmkeeper, very good story written. If you want to go Hunter Ranger, like I probably love these subclasses the best out of anything, but what limits it is if I don't get to use optional rules, you're kind of fish out of water. If you do get to use optional rules, it's actually a decent class, but some of the abilities that you get at a low level, or a high level for Ranger, you get a low level for Rogue. Like, I think I want to say like Uncanny Dodge and like Blind Sense or something at higher levels, so it's kind of weird, but I like what it's trying to get at.
I still love you.
There's some things that could be redone with this class, obviously, like if I'm going like pure mechanics. Number 6, speaking of Paladin, yeah, Divine Smite, that's really all I have to say. Like, just to be able to unload 90 damage in one turn, you're gonna get MVP replay kill at the table at least once per session.
slithering. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! And his name is John C.
Being a half caster, you can have a little bit of variety, but you're going to use most of your spells in Divine Smite. Having a deity gives you like a little more of a goal, or like just straight up being an Oathbreaker. You get some background and depth, charisma. You get a lot of with being a charisma caster. You get a lot of why did I brain fart in the word? With charisma, you get a lot of skills you can use. That's the word. How would I forget that? I don't know. You get a lot of skills. You get persuasion, deception, all the fun ones. So you have a lot of background room that you can use this for. Going into the top 5, I'm a little biased on this one. I know this one's ranked low in the community, but this is the first one I picked up and really loved and played while trying to learn the game, Monk. Reason being, I love the idea of punching stuff. I wanted a very minimal character, like had no equipment, but hey, I can't get disarmed, so I can still punch you. And being able to do a bonus action attack was very nice. Low levels, these are decent. Because like, okay, let's say you do 2d4 of damage every turn, but you get to add your modifier as well. So you're decent, you keep up. You have some key points to have a little bit of flavor. Low levels, the key points are kind of useless though, so it's kind of what makes it. But higher levels, you get very cool abilities. Like, I think you can turn invisible at some point. I've never played a higher level monk, which is kind of weird. I've only played at a low level. Again, I'm stuck as a DM. These are just off the top of my head. If you want more in-depth reviews, I'll go into that at its own time. So, Monk. Top 5 for me, very easy. Key points are fun. Unarmored defense is good. Wish you could use a shield, but that's fine. Number 4, arguably the most powerful class, Claire. I played a campaign, I DM'd a campaign, where it was around Nicolas Cage movies, and a player used divine intervention to save the party. It's a good plot point, so if the players are in a bind and someone has this ability, sometimes I just like let it happen. If it's the new group, they want to win, just so that way they can have that sense of victory. I don't want to deprive them if that's what they enjoy in a group. That alone, the spells you get are insane. You have your action and bonus action filled. There is no worry about that. Cantrips are good. Getting access to guidance is awesome. You have a lot of spell cantrip potential, but then also have a little bit with your subclass as well to aid your allies. So I think this is a very fun class mechanically. And then the top 3, to be honest, you can kind of throw around. Depending on the day, you could place any of these anywhere, but this is kind of like right now what I have. Number 3, I'm going Barbarian. I've played this class more times than I can count. Whenever I need a perfect martial class, I need to be a tank, I want to help newer players learn how to do things, this is my go-to class. I'm going to make a video one day about Epicus Brothar and other characters I played as Barbarian. I played Cocaine Bear as well. Basically, my most memorable characters are here. Rage, great mechanic. Being able to just tank everything is awesome. Being able to deal more damage is awesome. And if you pick Baratotem, which is like probably the best subclass in the game, getting more strength, getting more resistance, it's wild just how much you're going to be able to do with this class. Yes, you don't get access to spells, but if you're not a spellcaster anyway, this doesn't harm you. So, I really like this one. Number 2, I'm going to go Rogue. This is also one of my most played classes. Whenever I get the chance, I've always multi-classed at least something in here. Just because getting expertise at level 1 is busted. Being able to pick 2 skills and just having it be insanely high, amazing. I could be a strength-based rogue and get like a plus 16 acrobatics at higher levels, or athletics, and just grapple people. Like I grappled a fire god with it, so I've had great, very useful with expertise. Thieves' Cant is cool flavor. Sneak attack, even if you get 1 attack a turn, you're outputting enough damage to keep up with martial classes. Especially because you can get steady aim, you can hide, give yourself advantage so that we can make sure you hit your target. So combat-wise, very good. You get a lot of maneuvers, cunning actions, busted as well. Higher levels, you're even busted as well. Having reliable talent, like the dice becomes almost obsolete. Arcane Trickster could technically be the most busted, just getting access to as many spells as you do, but they're not high level spells. So that's what prevents it from being higher for me. But number one, objectively, Bard. You're a full caster. You can get access to, I think, any spell below certain levels at some point. You get Bardic Inspirations, you can boost your allies. You can get healing spells. I think technically Bards are better healers than Clerics, which is crazy, because Clerics are stereotypical healer class. So that's something there. Expertise, Jack of all trades. Your skills are going to be high, so you get a lot of roleplay value. Whatever direction you want to go with this Bard, you're going to have. So, I personally think Bard would be the best, even if I was to go stat for stat, but I also have the most fun playing a Bard. I'll usually multi-class the Bard as well, but... Anyways, that's for this video. I hope my tier list, doesn't scare anybody away. Please, I'm trying to get subscribers. If you enjoy this video, go check others. I'm going to be uploading a bunch at once. Huge batch, trying to start off. I also do TTRPG music, so if you want the background instrumentals you've been hearing through this video, I'll have a link for that as well. And someday, I'll figure out an outro.